Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. Kayla, she is another statistic. Okay, you're not hearing anything about a father, you're hearing about her interacting with her mother. And you know, when you have a little fracas, if there's something that is going on and you see the red stripe show up, you know, you're on your good behavior because you don't want them to witness you doing anything silly. But that's not the case here. She struck her mom's car with a rock. She damaged her mother's car while the Barbados Police Service were right there. They were right there. Okay, they'll witness it. Okay, but the mother is saying that Kayla's lifestyle is something that Kayla needs to work on. And maybe Verdun House, you know, when you hear that word Verdun House, you know what else is going on. But Kayla is another statistic. Kayla is another statistic, okay? Unless, I'm saying it for all of these blogs, unless you properly prepared to turn a young adult into the world, properly trained, properly raised, with anything that was available for that child to have to make them equipped to be in the world, all of that should have been made available to the child, or the streets are going to take your child from you. Okay, so Kayla, 22 years old, her mom allowed her into the house to shower and to have a change of clothing. That's like a homeless shelter. Her daughter was using her mother's house, the mother's house, like a shelter. You know, you're allowed in to bathe and change, and then you get out. Okay, so that's what the mother was allowing for Kayla to do. And that is, well, she's 22 years old. She's 22 years old, but obviously she's not ready to be, you know, independent. She's not ready to be free from the home of her mom. So, but at 22 years old, the mother does have a right to say, well, you cannot live here, especially if Kayla, when she's there, is causing disruptions and she's not behaving well, she's not following, the rules, quote unquote rules in the house. So yeah, she probably had to go. But when you are not properly prepared to be on your own, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. And Kayla is struggling. Obviously, she's struggling. So now she has to wait. Well, she had to hear Ian Weeks tell her, listen to your mom. And, she had to hear him talk all that, that talk that Ian Weeks usually talks in his courtroom. But it's all up to her. It's all up to Kayla at this point. And until she has the mentoring that she needs, and until something happens to her that the light in her head turns on, it's always going to be the same thing. It's always going to be the same thing, making poor choices, doing the wrong things, hurting your body, putting your body at risk. It's always going to be the same thing because wherever she came into the world from, the happenstance, people call it happenstance, you don't know who your mom, who your dad is going to be, but they were not ready. It's obvious that they were not ready. Okay, so this is something that you need to work on. And they're talking about pregnancies and birth rates being down in Barbados. This is something you need to work on. You cannot turn statistics out on the streets. You cannot turn your children out into the streets. You cannot do it. You have to prepare them for something that is above street level. You have to raise your children in a way that they hit the streets running. They hit the street running, not that they are just there in the street for the street to call to them because they feel as though they have no choices. Raising a child takes money. Raising a child takes a whole lot of money. And unless you can see a way that you can say, well, I'm going to have this child because this is needed in the world, like a particular skill, a particular profession, a particular practice is needed in the world, unless you are bringing your child in with that thought and saying, I brought you into the world because we need someone like you to fill this particular slot. If you're just bringing kids into the world because it's a oops kind of situation, you're going to have a whole lot of Kaylas. Okay, you're going to have a whole lot of Micaiahs. You know, you're going to have a whole lot of children who are going to be turned out into the streets. Okay, this is Sherry Veronica.